Every year in the NFL, it's a new team. As far as goals go, we have one. Putting a fucking ring on our finger.
Welcome to the Buccaneers Observer Podcast. This is Ralph Phillips.
I'm Molly Bay.
Today's December 11th, 2019. Man, it feels good to have the victory week. Love rubbing it in people's faces.
What is it? 3 weeks in a row?
3 weeks in a row. I'm a happy camper. Happy camper.
Couldn't have told that after the game. You were like miserable the whole time.
But watching the All-22, I could see why this was a really good game.
It was just fun.
Yeah, it was fun watching All-22. Normally it's rather sterile, but there was a lot of interesting things on tape. We'll get to that in just a moment. We got any fact checks or follow-ups?
Nope.
Okay. Then I guess we'll get to it right now.
All right, let's do it.
All right. Well, normally we ask ourselves, did we win the game? Did we lose the game? Did they beat us? Or was it the refs? Now, I think after the game, we had said the refs did really bad, right?
Yes.
We had said that we won the game.
Yeah.
I don't know. After watching the tape, the refs didn't seem to do as bad of a job as I thought they did. They did on that one play, though, when the Colts were up on the goal line. That was just...
The fumble?
Well, Brissett called the timeout after the timeout. They didn't let him do that.
That was annoying. It's just annoying because they called BA for it earlier in the year. And it was like a big to-do.
And then their excuse for it was ridiculous. It's up to their discretion.
Yeah.
It's like, no. The quarterback calls a timeout. That's a penalty if they've already had a timeout.
Right. And it's not like he was ready to go and call. I mean, he was walking off the field.
Yeah. Had to run back. He did get the ball snapped before time expired. It was right at when the clock hit 0. But then the Ndamukong Suh jumped off sides. And then Brissett...
Surprised they didn't call us for that.
I know. And then Brissett fumbles the ball. They don't call that. And they didn't even show it on replay. So you can't tell if his knee was down or whatever. It was that was one messed up play right there. There was a couple of things. There was a few holdings that I was like, they should have called that. The roughing the passer call against Vita Vea, that was complete BS. And there was one missed call, a blindside block on Jameis Winston after he threw an interception that they didn't call. Other than that, I didn't see a whole lot where I could say the refs really screwed either team over on this one. But here's what I do want to say. I don't know if we won this or if they lost it. And I don't want to take anything away from Jameis Winston because he did have a good game. And I think I'm going to be saying that a lot in this podcast, that I don't want to be taking anything away from Jameis Winston. But, and it's not that the Colts played badly. It's just we totally dominated them. Totally dominated them in all aspects of the game. Their secondary, the coaching scheme, was total garbage. We had guys open every play, and usually more than one.
And you can't do that against a receiving core like we have.
No.
Even though we lost Mike Evans, it's like they already had their game plan in place before they got here.
It was a crappy game plan. That's all I got to say. They do that cover 2 mess, and we just picked them apart. I have to give Byron Leftwich a lot of credit for his game planning because, he just schemed almost every play. They knew going into this what Indianapolis was going to run on defense, and they planned accordingly, and it was amazing. I'm not sure if I've ever seen a game where there were so many open wide receivers. So, I don't want to say they played bad, but they were no match for us at all. And their offensive line is the best unit on their team. Our defense had no problem with them. We didn't dominate them like we have been dominating most offensive lines, but, we were getting there.
Yeah, Brissett was under pressure a lot. We only got 1 sack, but...
We got a lot of hits on him.
Yeah.
The Brissett, however you pronounce his name, Brisket, he's not that good.
Oh, no.
No, I just don't think he's that impressive at all.
Is he more of a game manager, though?
Yeah.
He looked like he was serviceable. He's no Peyton Manning.
Yeah, he's not horrible.
He'll do the job.
But he left a lot of stuff on the field and he just doesn't have good pocket presence.
To his credit, though, they put up 35 points.
Well, a lot of it was due to Jameis Winston throwing interceptions.
That's true.
Let's talk about that for a minute.
Fair enough.
Almost every turnover was Jameis Winston's fault. Even Dare Ogunbowale's fumble, I could pin on Jameis if I tried hard enough. Like I said, there were wide open receivers all over the field. I counted 6 that Jameis missed. 6 wide open receivers.
That's about par for the course.
No, that's towards the high end. I mean, normally it's about 3 or 4. Okay. 6, that's a lot. And quite a few of these were touchdowns that he missed, seeing open receivers wide open, heading towards the end zone. The pick 6 play was probably one of the most aggravating, frustrating plays I've ever seen of Jameis Winston. And I just had to keep rewinding and looking at it going, I just can't believe this. I can't believe this. I really, from a professional quarterback, this is inexcusable. He had Perriman open immediately after the ball was hiked. But he held on to the ball for reasons unbeknownst to me.
He didn't have any pressure.
Didn't have any pressure. And they did. They blitzed the house. Or they blitzed 2 extra guys, 2 linebackers.
Wait, was there one coming up the middle? Was that the play where one guy was coming up the middle at him? Anyway, he had time to throw.
Oh, he had plenty of time. I mean, and like I said, Perriman was open immediately because he ran a slant route. And the cornerback covering was off of him for 10 yards. So, I mean, Perriman was open immediately. But worse than that was Cameron Brate was wide open 15 yards down the field with nobody near him for a good 10 yards. He was open immediately. Cameron Brate was, because the linebacker that was supposed to cover him blitzed. So Cameron Brate was open right off the line of scrimmage. And Jameis Winston held on to the ball, and then threw it. He gave the linebacker time to step back into the path of the ball and jump up and catch it. And I'm just screaming. I'm like, why would he do that? I don't understand. I do not understand. It's mind-numbing. My
only thought is that, A, he knew he was throwing a Perriman immediately.
Yeah, he never even looked over to Brate's side of the field.
Right. And maybe it was a timing route, and he was waiting for it to develop.
Could have been. I mean, I'm sure he's got his reasons, but he left at least a 15-yard reception on the field. I mean, the only way that wouldn't have been a 15-yard reception is if Brate dropped it or Winston threw a bad pass, because there was nobody to defend it at all. And instead, he threw it to Perriman, who, if he would have thrown it to Perriman just a second before, Perriman was wide open. So it was very, very annoying. All the interceptions were basically Jameis's fault. And in almost all of them, there was another option that he could have thrown to that was better. Now, the Dare Ogunbowale fumble, I can pin that one on Jameis too, because when he threw it to Dare, he had, I think it was Justin Watson, wide open, blazing down the field for a touchdown. And instead, Jameis Winston runs forward out of the pocket a little bit and then checks down to Dare.
He's done this his whole career.
Yeah, this is something I've bitched about.
I mean, you've been complaining about it for years. I think at this point we can say it's not going to get better.
No, he's going to throw in the tight pockets even when he's got a wide open guy down the field.
He doesn't have good vision.
He just does not see the field. Of course, it wasn't Jameis Winston's fault that Dare fumbled the ball.
Right. I mean, he needs to hang on to it. That's the minimum requirement for a carry. Yes,
but Jameis Winston had an open receiver down the field that he could have easily thrown it to. Like I said, it happened quite a bit during this game. So, if I had to give a game ball to anybody, I'd probably give it to Byron Leftwich for coming up with such a good game plan that opened up. God, I mean, there was just receivers open everywhere. And again, it's hard to tell if it's, the secondary of the Colts or the scheme. I'd have to go more with the scheme because, I mean, they were tackling well, and when they needed to be in their spots, they were in their spots. But, man,
they got 3 interceptions.
Yeah, but we were all over that field, just wide open everywhere.
And it showed on the stat board, too. I mean, Jameis threw for 456 yards.
If he would have hit some of these open guys, he would have come close to 600 yards.
That's crazy.
I know.
Has that ever happened in a game?
Oh, I'm sure. Probably Drew Brees. The 50-yard field goal that they got, that was tipped by Wim Golston.
Ah.
If you watch the videos, which the video is up on YouTube now so you can see all this stuff I'm talking about. I've been saying this all year and last year too. Golston is our field goal blocker. I mean, he's probably got the franchise record for blocking field goals. And man, he gets close so many times. But that one, he got his paw right on it. But unfortunately, it caused it to go up. He hit it directly in the center of the ball. And so instead of making it veer to left or right, it went up. And I think that's what gave that guy the 50-yard field goal. If Golston wouldn't have hit it, it might not have made it. We had another play. I don't know who it is because you cannot read these numbers at all on the All-22 with these Color Rush uniforms. I'm not sure who it was, but it was on an extra point. He got through the line, wide open to the kicker, dove for it, and went right through his hands. Yeah, we would have blocked that kick. O.J. Howard blocked pretty good in this game. Except for one time when he went up against Justin Houston, which, that's a mismatch right there. And
America.
As Booger would
Stop putting tight ends up against elite defensive ends.
I know. As soon as I saw the lineup, I was like, oh, God, this is going to be nasty. And sure enough, Houston just threw him right out of the way. Jameis did have some scrambling issues, not that bad. A couple of times, though, he did excellent, where even when he scrambled, he kept his feet set.
Oh, yeah, he was slippery this game.
Yeah, there was that one play where I thought it was for sure he was sacked.
They did too.
Well, that's the one. The guy, God, who was it? 96? Yeah, I can't remember who it was. It's on the video. He's got Winston in his grasp and is getting ready to take Winston down, and Ali Marpet comes out of nowhere and just slams that guy.
He's a block.
Yeah, it looks like he broke him in half, knocked him right off of Winston. But, that was Ali Marpet's guy to begin with. The guy got past Ali Marpet.
So it was the least he could do was clean that shit up.
Right, and he did. He played janitor during that one. Yeah, 2:32 in the second quarter. Winston had a open receiver on the right sideline. He was about 20 yards downfield and standing there. There was nobody near him, and there was nobody near him almost from the line of scrimmage. They just kind of forgot about him. And Jameis Winston threw the ball out of bounds, threw it away. He was looking at the left side of the field the whole time, so the ball snapped. And this guy was over on the right-hand side of the field, just standing there, totally alone. Good 20 yards downfield. And Jameis Winston never even saw him. Plays like that are so aggravating. And it happens all the time with Jameis, all the time. And Dirk Cutter and Leftwich and the receivers have got to get frustrated with that. They design these plays, get guys open, or guys get open, and Jameis Winston never even sees them. Ugh.
They need to tell him to go get an eye exam.
Well, I don't really think it's a matter of his eyes not working. He's not even looking over there. He does have a habit of just locking onto a receiver and following him. He decides who he's going to throw to before the ball is snapped, I assume. In the third quarter, you could definitely tell Donovan Smith was hurt. He was limping around out there.
Good on him for going back in. When we re-signed him, and I think the media was trying to sell it to the fan base, we weren't on board with it, but that's what they said. His durability, that's his upside. And you got to give him credit. I mean, they're not wrong.
The play he got hurt on, Ryan Jensen took his guy, drove him right to the ground, and unfortunately drove him right into Donovan Smith's leg. Well, Donovan Smith was blocking his guy. Donovan Smith falls down. His guy goes free. If his guy wouldn't have gone free, that would have been easily 20-yard run because there was a hole there. It was over 10 yards wide. The complete hole. They had opened up that whole left side. But unfortunately, Donovan Smith got hurt. His guy was able to get off the block and make the tackle. But Ryan Jensen did a great job. Just drove his guy right to the ground, but unfortunately drove him into Donovan Smith's leg as well.
Yeah, and Donovan is on the injury report today, Wednesday. He didn't participate in practice with that same injury.
Speaking of injuries, if you're not aware, Mike Evans is most likely out for the rest of the season. It's not official. He's not on IR yet, but he won't be playing for a couple of games, at least not this game coming up.
Are they saying what the hamstring injury is? Like, if it's that serious to keep him out for the rest of the season, does it require surgery, or is it just one of those longer healing injuries?
Yeah, hamstrings they're just a nagging injury. It's like when you hurt your back. It's just going to hurt for a long time. You're
going to tweak it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think Jenna Lane had tweeted out that her sources say he's out for the rest of the season.
Oh, it wouldn't surprise me. And, honestly, I think it'd probably be better because then we could get a better look at some of our other receivers. Justin Watson, I thought he played great.
Yeah, he did. And we were talking all this crap about him during the whole season. Me in particular, yeah.
Why is he even on the team?
I know. I was never impressed with him last year, but he really stepped up, especially having no notice that he was going to be in the game. And he came in and played really well.
That's one thing I do like about this team, and it's something that Arians pushes is, next man up mentality. We've talked about it on the podcast here, but the whole story that Bruce Arians tells.
Wally Pipp.
The Wally Pipp story. Injury could be your path to success. So Evans might be out, but I don't think it's going to hurt us any. One thing I do like, this is going off the subject a little bit of the game film, paying attention to all the fan-based forums and Twitter and all that. Nobody is saying that we should lose games for the draft pick now. Everybody is on board of us winning. They really like this team. Everybody loves this team. which is fantastic.
We said in the offseason, Bruce Arians had to come in here and have a culture change. And we see it with the players. Well, in this game, Levante David came in during halftime and chewed the locker room out. He went off.
Yeah.
And I'd love to see him stepping up into that leadership role. I think it's really important for him to do that because he is one of the longer tenured Buccaneers. And it's important.
And he's good.
And he's good. And it's important that he's on board with the culture change. It's really apparent to me that the team has bought in. And now I feel like the fan base has bought in, especially after this win. But before now, the locker room has been used to losing. Before this year, we've been really accustomed to losing. And BA had to overcome that. And I think part of it is overcoming it within the fan base, too.
Well, we've had Greg Schiano came in, tried to change the culture. Lovie Smith came in, tried to change the culture. Dirk Cutter came in, tried to change the culture. Nobody could do it. Arians, I think, has done it. I mean, these guys want to win. And it's good that we have a group of, our secondary is all homegrown. They're really seemed like they've got a lot of energy back there. They support each other. It seems like they hang out with each other.
The whole team, I feel like, is like that. They all seem to have a really good bond. It's like with Vita coming in on the offense. Mm-hmm. Him being involved there. And I've seen him, I think it might have been a mic'd up. Him and Jameis went up to each other before the game and, high-fived and, we're going to win this. And so it's good to see that kind of camaraderie.
They're playing like a team.
Yeah.
They all are playing like a team. It's something we talked about at the beginning of the year. When Jameis Winston messes up, like we know he's going to do probably every game, you need the defense to step up, or you need somebody. When one unit or one player is playing bad, you need somebody else to step up and fill that gap. And that's what I feel like we've been doing. Jameis Winston threw 3 interceptions?
Yeah.
And we had a fumble.
Darius fumble. We had 4 turnovers.
We had 4 turnovers on the offense, and the defense stepped up and, played extremely well, kept us in the game.
Two of the interceptions, or it might have been 2 of the turnovers, ended in field goals.
Right, and then the 1 turnover was a pick 6. Defense couldn't do nothing about that. Yeah. So, that's what we need. We need to play as a team. We need to complement each other. And I think it's happening.
I think if we can get the rest of the team on the same page, then there's a stronger case for Jameis Winston. Jameis can't do it all on his own. Because when he tries to do it on his own, he makes very big mistakes and he costs his games. But if the rest of the team shows up and contributes and, kind of lifts Jameis up, then I think there's a strong case to keep him.
And it's all complimentary. The offensive line, they've been playing well. They've, a little bit above average, I think.
Yeah.
And, that's been helping Jameis. We've got a little bit of a run game going. That's been helping Jameis. The defensive line has been getting pressure on the quarterbacks. Like with Brissett, a lot of the passes he threw were under pressure.
God, he threw some ducks.
Well, a lot of them was because he was getting hit as he threw. I'll put some of those in the video, too. And that helps our secondary. And our secondary has been covering well, which helps our pass rush. So, everything's complementary. And I think they're all working together very well. If anything needs improvement, I would say it'd be our run blocking.
I think so, too.
Which is kind of funny because I'm going to talk about a play here in a minute that I think was probably the play of the game that had to do with run blocking. But overall, our run blocking just has not been as good as it was at the beginning of the year. It's kind of dropped off. Donovan Smith has not been playing with as much energy and oomph as he was at these past few games. We've talked about that. And in this game, he was hurt in the second half, so that's kind of excusable. But he didn't have a bad game. I think he gave up 1 bad play, 1 sack. And that's against Justin Houston, which it's not a bad person to give up a sack to.
Yeah, he did pretty well considering.
Yeah, Houston played pretty well, but we contained their defensive line for the most part. And
right, Jameis only got sacked 1 time.
Mm-hmm. Speaking of the mic'd up videos, if you haven't had a chance, go look at the one on Whitehead.
Oh, I haven't seen that one.
You haven't seen it?
From the Colts?
Yeah.
Yeah, I haven't seen it.
Oh my gosh, I love it. He's great. He's probably one of my favorite players on the team. He just plays with so much intensity. He doesn't care about his body. He's throwing himself in there. He just wants to win, make plays. But he come in, and I watched the mic'd up before I'd seen the all 22, and there's a spot where he comes blitzing in, and he hits an offensive lineman. I can't remember who it was. Hold on 1 second. I think it was 64, Mark Glowinski. Anyhow, Whitehead comes rushing in, and he hits the lineman. And the lineman, stopped him. kind of stood him up and everything. But after the play, the lineman walked over to him and said, "Hey, buddy, I just got to say, that hurt." He was like, "I was not expecting you to hit me that hard."
No, I think that was Quentin Nelson, because I think I saw that clip from the Buccaneers.
Yeah, he was just really impressed. He was like, "Wow." And of course, Whitehead goes over and tells everybody on the bench, and he's like, "Yeah, hit that lineman." But they didn't show the hit, or you couldn't really see it on mic'd up. But then I watched it on the All 22, and it was really nothing that Whitehead hasn't done previously. He just comes in really hard. But yeah, he hit that guy. The guy stopped him, but you could tell it made an impact.
Well, that's what BA said about Whitehead during the offseason, was that he likes contact. He's really physical. You can tell that with him. He kind of reminds me, and I've said this before, of John Lynch, in the sense that, he's like a missile. He's like a torpedo. If you've got the ball, you need to know where Whitehead's at, because he's coming. So anyhow, we had said, I was debating on what the plays of the game were after the game. I said it was a toss-up between Devin White's knocking the ball out, that fumbled. That was great, too. That was really I'm so masterful. Glad to see him kind of come out of his shell, and really, we watched him develop through the season. And it's just it's cool to see all the growth. He's had a lot of growth. I think next year he's going to be damn near unstoppable. Yeah, I think so, he had another, their longest play was 37 yards, I think, and it was Devin White's coverage fault. I'll put that in the video. It was kind of confusing because a bunch of Buccaneers got a little bunched up there, right? They were all kind of in the same area. Yeah, and I think they confused each other with that. Like, hey, what are you doing over here? Yeah. But Devin White is the inside linebacker. He was in the middle. It was his responsibility, and that's where the guy caught the ball. So I blame it on Devin White. Once he gets his coverage down, and it's really not that he's bad in coverage. It's just that he doesn't get in the right spots. He won't get into the right places. And he hesitates a little bit. Yeah, but he'll get over that. And I think next year he's going to be damn near unstoppable. So it was between that play and the play with JPP batting the ball down on fourth down when they were trying to score. It was 35-38. He batted the ball down. And I said it was a toss-up between those two plays as, to me, plays of the game. Well, I've got another one in there. We were moving down the field, or we had just got the ball after JPP had knocked it down. So this is the end. We basically just need to run the clock out. Right. We needed a first down, so then we could kneel on it. And I want to say it was second down. I can't remember. And we needed a first down. But we lined up in a jumbo formation. We had everybody on the line. They knew we were running. And Ali Marpet pulls from the right side, or the left side, his left guard position, and he runs all the way over to the right side. And I think it was two tight ends. I think we might have had Josh Wells in there. I mean, it was stacked. We were stacked. So he runs past all those guys, and they did a great job blocking too. We hand it off to Peyton Barber. He runs and he follows Marpet. Well, Marpet turns the corner, and there's this poor cornerback standing there who is the only thing between us and a first down. And he's there, to have containment? Yes, his responsibility was to scrape that back in and make sure the running back didn't pop to the outside. Well, Marpet comes around that corner and just blasted that guy. That guy didn't recover until he was 20 yards down the field. But then we already had the first down. Yep, and it was that block that sprung Barber out, and we got 11 yards, first down, then we were able to kneel on it. So I would have to say that's probably the play of the game. Because if we wouldn't have got that first down, they would have got the ball back. They would have only needed 3 points, and they would have had a minute and about a minute, to go down the field. So, Ali Marpet, kudos to you. To me, it's a toss-up between that play and JPP's play, where he batted the ball down. There was a lot of good plays in this game on our behalf. Not too many on their part. They really look like not a team that. Gosh, I almost want to say that they would look like the worst team we've played this year. Really? And I don't know if it's because we played so well, but their secondary and their scheme was we just chewed that alive. They are on a lose streak, so I wonder if that's kind of taken its toll. We know what that's like. Yeah, sure enough. We've known that for the past decade. All right, so in conclusion, the Colts are not a really good team. Brissett's serviceable quarterback, but he ain't going to take you to another Super Bowl. Their O-line is the only good part they've got on their team, and we didn't have a problem with them. Their secondary and their scheme, not good. It's hard to tell which one's worse, the players or the scheme. I would have to go with the scheme. I really would. Because, they just played that cover 2 almost exclusively all game, and we just sat there and chipped away at it. Just ate them up. Now, we won, but this game should not have been close.
I mean, we really dominated in all aspects of this game. It was the turnovers that hurt us. And those turnovers were completely avoidable. The Dare one, you fumble every now and then. It's going to happen. Jameis shouldn't have thrown it to him anyhow. But he had a much better receiver down the field. But it shouldn't have been close. It should not have been close at all. I've never seen that many open receivers in a professional football game. Well, then, I can't say that. Against us, that Chicago game, was it last year or 2 years ago? Yeah, I think I might have seen more open receivers in that game.
You have been watching the Buccaneers secondary for the last 5 years, right?
Well, in these zone defenses, you're going to have open receivers. It's just how the secondary responds to it, But in this game, I'm looking at these open receivers, and I'm like, there's no way nobody in the secondary could even get to this guy in time, So that's my conclusion. But no matter how it happens, whose fault it was, we got to win. And we look damn good doing it.
And it was fun. That was an
game.
entertaining game.
That was a good game. And that's what it's all about, man. That's what it's all about. It's like that post you put on Twitter about Jameis is like giving a civilian a flamethrower. Shit's going to burn down. It's going to be entertaining as hell.
It was great. It's just so appropriate. It perfectly describes him. And love or hate him, you agree with that sentiment.
Yes. Oh, my God. Jameis Winston did a pump fake in this game. And not a pump fake to his receiver that he's going to throw to, which is normally what he does. But I'll never understand that one.
I don't think he understands the purpose of a pump fake.
I don't either. And he didn't really do a pump fake here. It was like a half pump fake.
Well, he's got that real long wind up. Yeah. So it was probably a normal pump fake to somebody like Drew Brees.
But if you watch the video, I do a breakdown kind of how that pump fake affected the whole secondary and left Justin Watson wide open in the end zone.
Did he throw it to him?
No.
Oh, okay.
But it just goes to show how effective pump fakes can be if you use them correctly. Because, he did a pump fake to the right side of the field, and the whole secondary turned that away and kind of shifted to the right side of the field. And then he turned around and threw it to the left side of the field. He didn't throw it to Justin Watson, who was wide open in the end zone, but...
You're just getting greedy at this point.
I know. Jameis Winston puts up over 450 yards, and I'm over here going, Jameis Winston was missing open receivers.
He could have had another touchdown.
Good game, though. Good game. That's good. That's fun stuff. I tell you what, Detroit Lions, we were going to put a beat down on those people.
I feel bad for them.
Badly.
I feel a little bad. I've always liked them, kind of because they've been in the same boat as us for years.
I've always liked them. When we played them in the black and blue division, we were in their same division, the NFC North, they were always a tough team. I'll never forget the Keyshawn Johnson went across the middle one time and got clobbered. He was bleeding out the nose, out the mouth. God. He was hurt. And that's when I got a lot of respect to Keyshawn Johnson, because he went off, cleaned up a little bit, took his helmet off, cleaned up, and went right back in that game. But the Detroit Lions have always played us tough. A couple years ago when we played them, Noah Spence had a great game. We ended up winning last minute, but I think this time is just going to be a total beatdown. This game, the Colts game, should not have been close. It shouldn't have been close at all. The only reason why it was close is because, like Bruce Arians said, we like to spot teams 14, 17 points going, in the first quarter, which is basically what we did. We had 25. How much did we spot them? At least 10 points.
2 field goals and a touchdown.
So 13 points?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's about our average. We spot teams 13 points.
That's why we have to put up so many. You could really tell this week after the game that the players have noticed a difference. They all talked about how in years past we would have lost a game like this.
Which is
funny. It was like what everybody was saying. Which
is funny because I said that 2 weeks ago. I was like, we would have lost this game. Which one was it? Jacksonville? Can't remember, but...
Yeah, Jacksonville.
You can definitely notice that this team, this is a totally different team, mentality-wise, than we've seen in 10 years.
It's crazy. Greg Allman had an article, or a tweet, well, The Athletic, Tampa Bay, rather, but I think that's Greg. The Bucs had lost 29 consecutive games in which they trailed at any time by 8 points or more, and that ended with this game.
Yeah, that's funny, though, and this is something we've discussed, is how people like to bring up all these stats about the Buccaneers, and I'm like, yeah, we've just sucked for the past decade. You can say anything, and you're going to go, yeah.
Don't pull any of these stats.
Yeah. The Buccaneers have lost so consecutive home games. Yeah, we've lost a whole bunch of games. That's what we've been doing for the past 10 years, losing games.
Yeah, but 29 games, that's like almost 2 seasons worth.
Yeah.
That's pretty bad. We currently have the third highest scoring offense behind Baltimore and the 49ers.
What shocks me most about that is that the Baltimore and 49ers have high-scoring offenses.
I know.
Who saw that coming?
Well, the 49ers did put up like 46 points against the Saints this weekend. That was a high-flying game, which I did not expect.
No, I didn't either. That's why I benched Drew Brees on my fantasy football, and he puts up 55 points.
That's what you get.
I still end up winning,
You never
though.
sit your studs.
Well, I had Tom Brady was my option, so I went with him. I think he got me 15 points. 15.
I think it was 11.
Yeah, I still won, so I don't care.
Yeah, okay. Fighting for the Sacco.
That's right. There's three of us. Three of us are tied for last place. I'm not going down without a fight.
You lost the tiebreaker, though. Matt Gay is 4th among NFL kickers in scoring and 6th in made field goals. He's hit 88.9% and is second best in Bucs history behind Connor Barth.
Connor Barth is the best? Huh.
Yep.
Connor Barth had 92.9% success ratio. Matt Gay has 88.9% right now. I think we found our kicker of the future.
Oh, yeah.
He's going to be here at least 4 years.
He just fits in with this group. It's just this group.
It's his shimmy that I like. His little shimmy.
We did make a roster move today. We promoted wide receiver Ishmael Hyman to the active roster.
Hyman! Now, that's because Mike Evans is going to be out for at least next week.
Yeah, and we put TJ Logan on IR, so we had the roster spot.
Okay. So Mike Evans, as of right now, we don't know what his status is for the rest of the season, but he will not play next week.
And then Scotty Miller, he's got his nagging hamstring injury, so.
I just said he will not play, but it's very doubtful that he'll play. That's the official word. What was it? What did you say?
Scotty Miller, too, has a hamstring injury.
That sucks. I like him. I want to see him get the ball and just speed it one time. He's faster now.
Yeah, he's had the hamstring, too, all season.
Man. I remember when getting knee injuries used to mean you were out, and a lot of times your career would be over. And now ACL and MCL injuries aren't that bad. They go in and go fix them up, and you come back and play. Remember when Adrian Peterson, I think he had 2 done, and he's still in the league fighting it out. I wonder when hamstring injuries are going to be like that. You know, you get a hamstring injury, and they do something, surgery, or give you a pill or an injection or something like that, and you're back out there. It's coming. A lot of injuries across the league this week. A lot of it is most likely due to teams being out of the playoffs. So, you know, a lot of these veterans, guys who have their employment locked down for next year are, you know, they're like, why play? You know, so we know this happens. Brent Grime has confirmed it for us. We all suspected it, but Brent Grime's confirmed it for us on his podcast that players do fake injuries.
Yeah, the Falcons lost Calvin Ridley to IR.
I'm surprised the old Falcons team hasn't gone out to IR. Although they did beat the Carolina Panthers. Love it.
Like awful.
Jameis Winston is at 4,115 yards on the season with 3 games to go.
That's crazy.
That's extremely crazy. He could break 4,500. Most likely will.
And he broke his own record for single season passing yards.
And he held the franchise record.
Yeah.
Right? So, yeah, he just set another franchise record this year.
Oh, you mentioned the Carolina Panthers. Cornerback Dante Jackson ripped the defensive coaching staff for 2 horrible calls on Matt Ryan's 2 touchdown passes. So things are imploding there, just as we suspected. Bad.
That's a revolt.
It's
Love it.
bad. So they'll be doing a nice house cleaning.
All right, well, that's going to wrap it up for us. We'll have the preview for the Detroit Lions on Friday. Apologize for this podcast being so late. It was a nice day yesterday, and I want to sit in the house all day doing film work. So I took my daughter to the park and caused me to have to do the video today, which, you know, can't do the podcast on film review if I haven't reviewed the film yet. So
Right.
Here we are. We got it out. But Friday, Molly will have her breakdown of the Detroit Lions coming up. That should be a good one, interesting one. If you want to hang out and listen to the press conference of Bruce Arians' latest press conference, you can stick around. But that's going to do it for us. Until next time.
Go Bucks.
To add than yesterday, like I said, I love the fact that our team doesn't get down during a game. You know, we throw a pick six, 2 minutes left in the half. We just go right back out and go back down the field and score a touchdown and get it back to a 1-score game. we get a turnover, we turn it back over, we stop them, we force a kick, get great pressure on the kicker. Should have blocked the kick early in the game. We came free, went right past the ball. And I think that was still in the kid's mind. So that the resiliency of the team, we're not quitting, the fact that we are now mathematically eliminated from the playoffs, not going to change anything. We're going to work, we're going to try to win 4 in a row, then 5 in a row, then 6 in a row.
Coach, is that kind of the difference in earlier in the year versus this year, where when you do have the turnovers, your defense will limit those to 3 points instead of 7, or maybe 0 points? You get the ball back for you guys. Is that the difference in this win?
Yeah, I think that's a huge part of us playing together as in all 3 phases. Just in special teams has been huge for us. But, to go out and get it back, stop them, that's what winning defenses do.
Is there a reason you think for some of the early interceptions for Jameis? I want to say he's had 3 or 4 now on the opening drive of games this year.
Again, some of it's decision, some of it's throw, some of it's the receiver. Looking back at this one, Mike was pressed. He was a little short on his route. Darius Leonard's a very tall linebacker. And just you have to be more aware of trying to throw it over a guy like that and not throw it too high to the corner. So, but he trusts Mike and I trust Mike, so I don't blame that part of it, but that's what it is.
On both those picks by Leonard, was he seeing Leonard? Because sometimes these quarterbacks have a...
Well, the second one was totally different. The first one was just zone coverage. The second one was an all-out blitz, and we don't pick up the guy coming up the middle. Jameis would think he's hot then, just throw the ball to the slant. Darius pulled out and got right underneath it, so we block it properly. He's going to throw it to Cam right down the middle, wide open for a touchdown.
Speaking of Mike, any better sense of where he's going to be these last 3 weeks, if at all?
No, they're going to let it bleed out and see where he was. A quick healer when he had it in the spring, so I would be very doubtful for this week.
Is there an official diagnosis yet for him after the MRI?
It's just a pulled hamstring.
The third turnover, when they got the ball to 25, right away the defense, I think Shaq Barrett dropped Mack for a 5-yard loss. So you talk about limiting it to a field goal, but they were actually able to do better than that. How important was that just to keep it a one-score game as tight as it was?
It was huge, and like I said, we've been playing sudden change defense really well for the last month, other than the first one when we're playing man-to-man and we don't cover our man. We think the quarterback's sacked and we look back in the backfield and there goes our guy. And, that's the inexcusable part of some of the points that they got.
So was the hamstring, is there any tear in there, or is it just a pull?
I think it's just a pull.
Coach, ideally, probably like to have the game go more like Jacksonville than it did yesterday when you overcame 3 double-digit deficits and you also scored the last 17 points of the game. You mentioned the resiliency, but as a coach, does it give you the attitude that you can overcome any leads?
I'd actually like this win better for that reason. It shows the growth of the football team. It's easy to be front runners and win when everything's going your way, but hardly anything was going our way in this one. But we hung in there and found a way to win. I like that at this stage of where we're at in the season. I like that win a whole lot more.
A lot of people, a lot of players, and maybe this was talked about at halftime, said that we don't win this game in the past. Like this is one we might have lost. So as a coach, you did this in Arizona. You start out slow. Like when you start to see, how do you start to see? Obviously, we talked about this. Winning is the culture, right? Mm-hmm. You got to win. Mm-hmm. That's how you know it's changing.
Right.
But there are some mileposts along the way, right?
Oh yeah.
Is this definitely one of them?
Oh, I think this will be a huge one for us. When we finished that season beating Seattle, who was division champs, it led into a hell of an off season. For us to possibly win 4 in a row, then 5 in a row against a really good Houston team, and then this is going to be a struggle in Detroit this week with the number of injuries we got. But yeah, that's building blocks. The culture is set, because the other guys aren't accepting it anymore.
That's right.
They don't accept losing anymore, and that's kind of what this guy stood up in the locker room at halftime. I didn't have to say much. We ain't accepting it anymore. All right, and that's, it's getting across.
about that. Is there any clarity on Jameis's injury with the thumb?
No, he's going to have a second opinion this afternoon.
Is there any idea? I mean, you talked about yesterday, he leaves the second quarter, but he can't start the third quarter. Do we know any idea when the injury might have occurred?
Have no clue. Have no clue.
Did he punch a wall at halftime or anything?
No, he was shaking everybody's hand and shook mine and was like, let's go. Out of the locker room, next thing I know, he's going to get an x-ray.
Two-time vision?
No.
Any other injuries from yesterday's game that are potentially spilling over to Sunday?
Donovan Smith hit a. I doubt he practices as much this week, but hopefully we can get him back out there Friday, and with a knee and an ankle. But hopefully we can get Alex Kappa back. But other than those two, I can't think. Jameis and Mike are the two big ones.
What is the second opinion? I mean, like, obviously you get an initial X-ray and then you'll do more testing, but did you wake up? I mean, sometimes the adrenaline wears off and it's like, dude, I can't grip a ball at all today.
It's swollen the store, but we got to get a hand specialist involved to see long-term future.
Right.
Coach, you mentioned injuries, and last month it was Jamel Dean in Seattle. Yesterday was Justin Watson here. When those guys put in their work in preparation during the week and the position coaches do that work for them, what's it mean for you to be able to have those guys step up the way they did?
Oh, you feel great for them. One man's injury is another guy's opportunity. And some fail at it because they can't handle the moment. I mean, Justin's never caught punts in a game in his life, and he went out and did an unbelievable job on a ball that was bouncing, got 10 yards, and made a huge third down catch, a touchdown catch. And, those are the guys you're really, really happy for after games like that.
Lost T.J. Logan on Friday last week. Do you know what you'll do with that open roster spot once he's on?
No, we'll have to see what we got the rest of this week to see where we go. I'm okay. I've done three running backs for a lot of times, but Cedric's on the practice squad, and we'll see where we go.
In anticipation on knowing what's going on, would you have to contemplate getting a third quarterback? Or I know you have one out here, obviously, on the practice squad.
Yeah, it'd be Chad probably if we had to.
How's he been? Just from a guy on the practice squad for the last month and change.
What's that?
How's Chad been as a guy on the practice?
Oh, he's been solid. He's learning. He's done his job.
Coach, you mentioned last week the fact that you were going to wait to the end of the season and the end of December to decide on Jameis Winston moving forward for next season. Are you missing something? Is there something that you'd like to see between now and the end of the season to be able to make that decision?
No, I evaluate all our players at the end of the season. I don't evaluate any of them now, So we'll see everybody's value where they're at when the season's over.
Before the game or after the fact, did you see the interaction between Pinion and Quentin Nelson there before the game?
No.
Perriman, you said yesterday, even despite maybe not having the production that he wanted in the season, that your faith in him never waned. What is it about that allowed that for you? Was it what you saw in practice?
Yeah, he had such a great spring. He had a great camp. Lit it up against the Dolphins when they were in. It's just going to be opportunities, like Frank. Tom Moore said a long time we had Swan, Stallworth, Frank Lewis, I think it was. One of you Monday's going to have your lip poked out because you ain't getting the ball enough. That's just life of being 3, 4, and 5 receiver. 1 and 2 getting theirs. Now, who gets the other ones? Somebody probably have their lip poked out, but he's never done that. He just comes to work ready for his chance, and the last 2 weeks it's been there for him.
Getting back to Jameis, what's it like as a coach? Fans ride the roller coaster a little bit. In that game yesterday was maybe a little more wild than some. Are you doing the same thing?
Oh yeah. It's you go with the highs, and he goes with the lows, and there was a stretch when it's like he's afraid to throw it now. Slap him in the face and throw the damn thing. Don't hold it.
How does it impact your stress level when you have a player that is so up and down like that?
I've been at it so long that there's been millions of guys that play like that, and it adds to the fun.
And how do you kind of keep your emotions steady as you're watching something like that?
No, I don't even try. That's when you have heart attacks. Let that out.
I mean, you've been around a lot of players, and Ben got his share of grief, right?
Oh, God, yeah.
A lot of guys did, right? Mm-hmm. But have you been around a quarterback where everybody seems to have an opinion and they're all different?
No. And like I said, I'll judge from these games, from this year, from my work with him, not
the only one that matters,
and not what's happened in the past. And Ben and Peyton, I had Peyton the first 3 years. It was a roller coaster. 28 interceptions or whatever it was, and so it's just not an easy position to play. But when you see an interception for a touchdown, you come right off on the sideline, you can right back down for a touchdown. There's something there.
Coach Carson had 22, I believe, his first year with you, including 4 in that game against Seattle, and you guys still won that game.
You still won the game, yeah.
I mean, is it part of those numbers sometimes higher just because of what you guys are asking these quarterbacks to do? Is that part of it as well? I mean,
the first year, yeah. Yeah, it's not an easy. Our offense is not an easy offense, but once you get it, it's very, very explosive, and you see the explosiveness, and you still see the learning curve. The cover 0 blitz that gets picked for 6, the learning curve of the back blocking the right guy and not panicking and taking a different one, and knowing that you had an easy touchdown pass when you threw a touchdown to the other team because of that. It's not just the quarterback. It's all of them learning the whole offense.
When you have a quarterback who's like that, is it vital that you're going to have a defense that's going to be able to snatch the ball away like that? Like you did
I don't think so. I mean, that defense was a much more veteran defense in Arizona, but the interception stopped. The next year they went way down, and I would anticipate the same with the quarterbacks here. All right, now practicing. DeMar Dotson, Mike Evans, Jason Pierre-Paul, and Donovan Smith. Good start to the week. A little warm today, but it was a good, solid practice.
Jameis has a cast on his hand and everything, and he wasn't throwing or holding the ball. When do you anticipate he will be able to do that?
We'll see as the week goes along.
Do you have any concern about putting him in a game this week if he doesn't take any reps in practice throwing?
Oh, definitely. He'll throw before we get there.
So as of right now, you expect Jameis to play on Sunday?
That's the plan. We'll see how it goes.
First, Mike Evans, are you guys any closer to knowing whether or not he can come back and play this season?
No. I mean, it's a pretty good hamstring strain, but he healed fast in the spring, so we'll just see how it goes each and every day.
Right now, there's no plans to put him on IR.
No.
So are you guys holding out hope that there's a possibility he could?
Yeah, I mean, with these things, you never know. Each guy's so different.
Bruce, Jameis he's missed practice before and played with an AC shoulder, played well actually. Does that help a guy that's had to go through the mental reps and still able to?
Yeah, I think sometimes it's good to give your arm a rest, but not your brain. So he's out there taking a drop on every play, telling me what the coverage was, where the ball should have gone. So he got a good mental practice, and it might help him physically.
I'm guessing Ryan Griffin probably got the majority of the reps. How did he handle himself today?
He's fine.
Staying with the injury theme as far as Donovan Smith's concerned, is it the ankle, knee, is it both? Which one concerns you most?
All the above. He ran in the pool, so hopefully we can see him sometimes before Friday.
Were they separate injuries, or did this all happen at once?
They're separate injuries.
How did Griff look taking the reps today?
Like he's never missed a beat. Like he's been a starter all year. That's just him, He's a very bright guy. He's extremely accurate. It was a very fast tempo practice. We really didn't miss anything.
It's an anomaly that a guy turns 30, played 6.5+ years, never took a snap, forget kneel downs, none of that. I mean, you had to feel, not that you ever want to lose your starting quarterback, but if he's got to lose him temporarily, do you feel good for Griff to get out there and get that after?
All the confidence in the world, and now that's over with now. Put the picture on the wall. You're out there, and you got to play. So you got your first completion, and I think we all have a ton of confidence in him.
It was just one series, but what did you see from him in that?
It's the same thing I see every day. He's poised, he's accurate, knows what he's doing with the ball, and he gets it out of his hand quick.
I know you said last week that you thought practice wasn't that great, and you were real anxious to get back out there practicing. Did you see more of what you'd hope you'd get today?
Much better, yeah, what I'm used to seeing out there.
Coach, Detroit's second to last as far as interceptions concerned, causing interceptions. They're also the bottom 5 when it comes to getting sacks. What are we not seeing that they do well defensively that's not showing up as that?
Yeah, I mean, it's sometimes statistics lie. You know, Darius Slay, they've dropped a couple. Darius Slay's he's a ball hawk, and he's gonna be jumping routes like he always has. And you know, they've got a heck of a pass rush. Trey Flowers is one of the best there is. So, I mean, they're a 2-gap team, so it's a little bit different until they get to nickel and start blitzing.
I know Mike is often getting double-teamed. Is Chris at the point now, even though he's a first-year full-time starter, where he can command a lot of those double teams and be okay?
Yeah, he's been getting double-teamed quite a bit himself on third down, and so we're kind of used to seeing that.
We got a chance to finish 5-3 on the road, Bruce, and when you do that, you know, normally you're kind of in the playoffs.
Normally you're in the playoffs, yeah. And yeah, that's the anomaly I think of this season. You know, the early losses, the close losses at home, then going out and winning on the road, which is really hard, especially some of the places we won.
But it kind of shows you something about, you know.
Oh yeah, I mean it's a lot to build on. A lot to build. You'd hope to go undefeated at home and split on the road, and you're 12-4 and you're in great shape. But to have a chance to be 5-3, that's saying a lot about our guys.
There's some teams that finish with losing records, or maybe they hover around 500, but then the next year they just maybe either remain stagnant or they take a few steps backwards. But then there's other teams like the one you coached out in Arizona, where it's a springboard for them the next year. It kind of catapults them into the next season. What's the difference between those two types of teams?
I think it's a belief in your locker room of a shift in culture. You know, if it's the same culture and nothing's changed, a lot of things don't change. I think just watching our guys, how hard they practice today in December, you know, I really can't ask for much more as a coach.
Evans hasn't missed a game because of injury since the first week of 2015. You know, there's some guys that you just expect them to be on the field every Sunday. I know you kind of had that with Fitzgerald in Arizona. I know there's that next man mentality, but is there an extra loss of just like not having a guy who everyone just kind of always expects to be out there making plays, being a leader, stuff like that?
Yeah, nobody's going to be Mike, but just be yourself. Whoever's playing the position, be yourself, do your job, and catch the damn ball when it's thrown to you.
We talked about, you know, this rookie class, actually the last two. You weren't here when they drafted Carlton, those guys, but you've certainly been in the league a long time. Is there a common thread about these guys that you've noticed that have enabled them that you know, the scouting, whether scouting yourself, whatever, you know, like, looks like we got this pretty good, you know what I mean? Like we got this right.
Yeah, I can only speak really about this class, you know, but there are common threads with those guys. They love to play. You know, they love to play. They're smart players. A lot of them were captains. You always look for that trait, you know, when you're evaluating guys, not just the ability.
Bruce, you got a good thing going down near the goal line in that red zone. You're getting 7. You're not seeing Matt Gay on the field that often. What's working well now there?
Well, that was a major emphasis. You know, when I looked at the team last year, gained a ton of yards, not a lot of points because of red zone inefficiency. So we spent a lot of time in the red zone, a lot of walkthroughs, a lot of extra time because it is so valuable. When you're scoring touchdowns and they're kicking field goals, that's usually the deciding factor in a game. Jameis has played well. We've run the ball much better down there than we did last year.
In terms of going without Mike on Sunday, it seems like the balance in the passing game, I think the first half of the year is kind of the Chris and Mike show a lot of weeks. Do you feel that much better because you guys have been able to distribute the ball so much better the last couple of weeks?
Yeah, I think when people try to take them away, you know, the other guys need to step up, and they did. You know, and Jameis did a good job of finding those matchups. You know, OJ a few times in Jacksonville, and then last week, some of those plays are by design. You know, because you know what's happening outside, so you set some stuff up inside. And, you know, so, yeah, Justin jumped in there and did his job. got a game ball for doing his job.
There's been obviously some early turnovers, first throws, first series, that kind of thing. You talked about Trafon, obviously saw something on tape and decided to jump, but they know Jameis wants to come out, you want to come out and attack. Do you see these guys sort of like backing off or doing so? I mean, are they scheming you in this way that's contributing to some of those turnovers just because?
Yeah, yes and no. Trufant did. He studied the film on the backside of that formation. What's usually going to happen is an inside breaking route, or Mike's going deep. The rest of the things I think are just forcing the ball a little bit. Yeah, be the route runner and the passer weren't on the same page.
There's only one guy's thrown more balls than Jameis. It's Brady. A little surprised. Are you okay with that, or would you rather have him throw less balls?
I'd much rather run the ball better and more often, but when you get yourself down 14, you're just going. The number of runs are going to go down. Now they were successful, which was good in those drives, but the number of runs are actually going to go down every time.
Talked about the 5-3 record on the road, but they had to endure a lot of travel. Needless to say, 20,000 miles. This is your last road trip. You've had the benefit of some shorter ones lately. All told, how do you think these guys were able to hold up throughout?
Yeah, I'm going to credit the sports science team for really having we knock on wood, we haven't had many injuries. A couple of hamstrings here or there just from fatigue things, and I think some of that was travel. And Anthony Nelson, a couple of those guys, Scotty, but they bought in. We talked about it. We addressed it. This is where we're going. This is when the game's scheduled. Have you guys ready to play? And here's some things that can help you, sleep-wise, hydration-wise, and everything else.
You mentioned Scotty. He and Anthony were back at practice first time today. Is it reasonable to think they could go on Sunday?
Yeah, Scotty looked okay. Anthony's still questionable.